I'm Barbara Vaughan. Up next on Minnesota 9 News, it is high flying for the Ventura team. The final few hours before Jesse Ventura becomes governor. We'll show you how he's spending them. The plows are out in full force, and so are the tow trucks. Accumulating snow means accumulating accidents on Minnesota roads, plus airline travel delays. Matt Chase has the very latest on snow in the forecast, and Andy is in with sports on Minnesota 9 News at 9 and at 10. It was late getting here, but there is no denying it now. Welcome to winter, folks. It certainly looks pretty out there, but getting around is pretty ugly. Chelsea Irving spent the day and evening out in the snow, and she has this report.
We've been waiting and waiting patiently for the first snow of the year, and it seems to be here now. And it is kind of hectic coming off of the holidays.
Minneapolis city plows keep covering the roads, drivers stopping only to fill up their tanks.
Slippery. Very slippery today. Been here all day since 7 this morning.
But the snow just keeps coming.
Well, we just get the arterials open, which are the main arteries of the city, and then they seem to clog up with snow again. So we're just trying to keep the centers open, basically. It's
slow going on virtually all roads, and at times it seems like there's more tow trucks than there are plows out there.
A lot of accidents. Done one step call, but most of them have been accidents.
It's been messy all over. In 1 hour alone, highway cameras show us a spin out on I-94 causing major delays. Same with a two-car crash on 35E and a rollover on Highway 12. On Highway 100, Maurice Recon's vacation here from the Sunshine State hit a winter storm snag.
I just hit ice and then just hit the railing guard. I hate it. Go back to Florida soon.
But for nearly every person cursing this, there's a kid doing this. Hellish driving conditions make for perfect sledding weather.
Snow is good. I love snow. The more the better.
And as the snow continues, here's a note if you live in St. Paul. A snow emergency is in effect there. Just at 9 o'clock, plows started clearing all the night plow routes. And tomorrow at 8 in the morning and all day, plow routes will be in effect. So be sure to put your car in the driveway or park on the correct side of the street. Now, taking a look out here live, you can see that things are moving along pretty well now on 494. We're at the intersection of 494 and 169 right here. Cars moving pretty slow for a highway, but if you want to take a look down at the frontage road, which is much closer to us, you can see still very snow covered on the back road, so that remains a problem right now as cars continue to be on the roads. The good news is we're expecting the snow to taper off this evening and just some flurries tomorrow, but with the blowing snow, it's still probably going to be some time before everything is back to normal out here. So we know you hate to hear it, and we hate to hear us say to be careful and take it slow out there, but be careful and take it slow out there. I'm Chelsea Irving reporting live in Bloomington. Back to you, Barbara.
If you must drive, be sure to have a survival kit. Here's what you'll need: blankets, candles, newspapers, matches, and high-energy foods like chocolate. Make sure you have a scraper, jumper cables, double-check the spare tire in the trunk, and be sure a jack is handy. Finally, add flares, reflectors, and help signs, all critical if you're caught in an emergency situation. You'll want to know what to expect if you are heading out. Here are phone numbers for road conditions. Statewide, call 800-542-0220. For Metro roads, call 405-6030. To check roads in Wisconsin, 800-762-3947. Or log on to our webpage at kmsp.com and click on road conditions. So, what is in store for the rest of the night? Here's meteorologist Matt Chase with a quick look at the forecast. Matt.
Thanks, Barbara. Like Chelsea pointed out, the snow is tapering off. A quick look at the radar will point that out. The heaviest of which is farthest down to our south and east. Still some very, very heavy snow being seen in eastern Wisconsin over into Michigan, where they've already seen a good 10 inches. We've picked up 5.4 inches of snow here in the Twin Cities metro. That's out at the airport as of 6 o'clock. A little bit more beyond that, 9.5 inches seen in Albert Lea, and Eau Claire has only picked up about 1.5 inches. And we might see 1 or 2 more throughout the night tonight. There is a snow and blowing snow advisory in effect for the Twin Cities metro and areas south and east. A winter weather advisory where they're just having to deal with the strong winds in western Minnesota. They saw saw as much as, well, you saw Albert Lee over 9 inches of snow there, and that was pretty much the situation for the southwestern corner of the state. It is tapering off. Some more snow still in the forecast, and we will take a look at that in about 15 minutes. Barbara, back to you.
All right, see you then, Matt. Thanks. With the snow comes shoveling or blowing, and with those come safety reminders. If you have a heart condition or other medical concerns, talk to your doctor before shoveling. Be sure to stretch out first. Use your legs and feet to move and lift snow instead of your back. Avoid twisting motions. Take plenty of breaks. Always turn off the snowblower before trying to unclog wet snow and debris from the machine. And use a long stick to clear the snowblower chute or other moving parts. Don't use your hands. Doctors say people falling on the ice is also very common.
So it's important to keep walks and site and stairways clear of ice and snow, to help your elderly neighbors if you can, to get their mail for them or offer to walk their dog for them. And just take it slow and wear shoes with good tread.
To avoid frostbite, dress in layers, wear boots, a hat and mittens, and don't smoke or drink out in the cold. The snow grounded quite a few Northwest Airlines planes. Close to 200 flights had to be delayed or canceled out of Twin Cities International. Many of the flights were heading east. Janet Bocut has an exhausted family and a fairly typical story to tell.
Started out in Salt Lake City last night, and our flight was canceled because Cincinnati Airport was canceled last night. And so then they put us on a flight to Minneapolis. Then we got here and our flight to Madison was canceled when we got here. So now we're stranded.
Stranded and 8 months pregnant. She says she and her husband are thinking of renting a car and driving the rest of the way. Meanwhile, flights will resume when the airports reopen. The massive storm covers dozens of states. Airports shut down, thousands are without power, and getting around the Midwest is virtually impossible. CNN's Sachi Koto reports.
In the Midwest, some people are already calling it the blizzard of '99. A huge winter storm is dumping snow and freezing rain across the country's midsection. In Illinois, there are near whiteout conditions in much of the state, including Chicago. Snow accumulations there could reach 24 inches. Forecasters are urging people to stay off the roads, and drivers are finding out why.
It's very horrible. It's hard to drive. You can't even get, a block away, and it's, your car's already stalling. It's very hard to drive.
How many people are out on the road?
Not much at all. As you can see, not many at all.
Dozens of Indiana counties have declared snow emergencies. Forecasters say some areas could end up with more than 14 inches by the storm's end. Pennsylvania is expecting up to 7 inches of snow before the precipitation changes into sleet and freezing rain. Forecasters are warning of hazardous driving conditions, and workers are busy salting the roads.
According to the weather, it's going to be a mess because we're going to get the snow with the freezing rain on top of it and the cold temperatures. Salt doesn't work as well. We'll have to put calcium in with our salt to make it work.
Several Ohio counties also have declared snow emergencies. As much as 10 inches has fallen in the Cincinnati area, and the story is the same across the Ohio River in Covington, Kentucky. Roads are slick in both places, and police are urging motorists to use extreme caution. Sachi Koto, CNN.
Still to come tonight, Governor-elect Ventura in the last few hours before he becomes Governor Ventura. Here's the news menu.
Minnesota 9 News. More local news every night.
A difficult day for one small Minnesota town as residents cope with the loss of 3 generations of one family. Fire broke out about 6 yesterday morning in Ceylon, located just south of Fairmont in Martin County. 5 members of the Hatfield family died, a grandmother, her son, and his 3 children, all under the age of 8. A 22-year-old family friend, Jenny Hoffmeyer, was staying the night and lost her life as well. Volunteer firefighters from a number of neighboring towns responded within 8 minutes of the first report, battled the cold to try to save them. The fire started in an attached garage, fueled by a gas-powered space heater. Young child and his father died when their minivan collided with a train. Happened around 1:30 north of Matamidi in Grant Township. The train dragged the minivan about a quarter mile before coming to a stop. The 2-year-old boy died there, the father at Regents Hospital. Another child in the minivan is okay. Investigators are still trying to determine why the minivan crossed onto the tracks. Governor-elect Jesse Ventura is spending his last weekend as a civilian. He'll be sworn into office on Monday. Today, an inauguration of sorts into farming and the Minnesota economy. He and the First Lady rolled up their shirt sleeves on a Hastings farm and got a good look at the hog price crisis. Here's Nicole Stewart.
On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Hooray! Woo!
Whether he's going back to his political roots by releasing an eagle in his hometown of Brooklyn Park,
we know what it's like to face that development, that urban sprawl,
or rubbing elbows with Minnesota's farmers at a down-home potluck, Jesse Ventura still has center stage with the media and the public. So you can imagine why urban farmers like Glenn Brown.
I think it's very good to have someone that's really interested in agriculture. And
are pleased Ventura wants to listen to their concerns about the hog price crisis.
I think the disaster in the hog industry today is a man-made disaster. With large corporate entities entering into the hog industry with huge numbers of sows.
Bischoff is one of Minnesota's 8,000 hog farmers fighting to save his family farm. Pork prices were so good a few years ago, hog farmers increased production. But corporations moved in, able to produce even more hogs, and in the process drive out small farms.
If I would sell a whole pig today, it would cost me the whole pig to purchase this ham.
Others voiced concerns about urban sprawl and environmental problems. Later, Jesse toured Jean and Louise Smolledge's Hastings farm. Meanwhile, First Lady learned about heavy machinery. Jesse Ventura's tour was supposed to be an educational experience. Farmers that we talked with say that it's going to take more than just a visit.
It'll still be an agricultural state.
Bischoff says the problem today's farmers facing is almost beyond hope.
Unfortunately, the small family producer will be the one most hurt.
Nicole Stewart, Minnesota 9 News.
This morning, Ventura appointed Charlie Weaver as head of the Public Safety Department. Weaver was the assistant Anoka County prosecutor and served in the State House of Representatives for 10 years. You can see Ventura's inauguration live here on Minnesota 9 News. Coverage begins Monday morning at 11:30. Elizabeth Costello and Jeff Passel will be at the Capitol to bring you the swearing-in ceremony and Ventura's first address as governor. This week's Thursday poll also deals with politics. We're curious to know which witness you'd want to hear from most if there is an impeachment trial in Washington, D.C. President Clinton, the First Lady, Monica Lewinsky, Linda Tripp, Vernon Jordan, or Betty Curry. To vote, call 946-1234, then enter category 1996. Remember, you can only choose one. Watch for results on Monday night. A bunch of mutts stole the show at the Mall of America. Yep, these are the Muttville comics. The four-legged performers dazzled crowds during their 5 shows today. All the dogs in this act were rescued from animal shelters. They've been featured on David Letterman and the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus. If you missed it, don't worry. Shows run again tomorrow at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the best part is, it's free. If you covet things from days gone by, we have just the place for you to be. The Minneapolis Convention Center, host of this weekend's Metro Antique Show, featuring the wares of about 150 local and nationally known dealers. Show hours from 11 to 5 tomorrow. Admission is $4 a person. Doesn't feel like it, but the Twin Cities is getting a touch of Miami these days, and we're not talking about the Super Bowl. For the 5th straight year, the Pickled Parrot in Minneapolis is bringing in fresh stone crabs from Miami Beach. Every time someone places an order for the seafood delight, the Pickled Parrot makes a donation to Operation Smile. Helps out needy children who can't afford necessary operations. From the looks of it so far, this is going to be a very good year.
This year already we've sold a couple 100 pounds. This is only our 2nd day doing it. I anticipate we'll go between 7,000 to 8,000 pounds this year.
Yep, that's about 8 $100 for the charity. The stone crabs will only be available through February 28th, so go out, enjoy a good meal, and help a good cause. Winter is back with a bang. Matt Chase will tell us how long the snow will continue to fall. Minnesota 9 weather is next.
Good evening, everyone. Had some snow out there. Winter finally arrived big time. We saw a high today of 18 degrees. That's actually the current temperature as well, with a low of 8. Close to normal, actually, when you average the highs and lows. Officially, we had 5.4 inches of snow as of 6 o'clock at the Twin Cities International Airport, about 5 inches at the National Weather Service in Chanhassen. Farther to the south and south-central Minnesota, they picked up over 9 inches of snow. So very tricky driving if you have to head out. Certainly take some care. A lot of snow being compacted on the roadways, especially side roads and off streets, so be very careful if you have to head out. Good idea is just to stay in. We won't be able to see that sunrise tomorrow, I'm afraid, at 7:51 because we'll probably still have some flurries around. Currently, we are at 18 degrees, like I mentioned. Still some light snow falling. Wind chills very noticeable with some strong northerly winds. That will be the case throughout the entire night as well. So the Twin Cities Metro and areas south and east under a snow and blowing snow advisory, even though most of the heavy snow is worked its way out of the area. Still some falling, so some problems still to be seen. There's the storm system responsible. A huge mess being seen to the south and east. Had some freezing rain, some very poor travel conditions. The Ohio River Valley, Tennessee River Valley even had some tornadic activity farther to the south along the Gulf Coast states. The storm system is strengthening. You notice the isobars circling out from the area of low pressure. Still a strengthening storm. That's why we're seeing so much moisture wrap around it, and that's why we had all of the snow that we had throughout sections of Minnesota. To the north, they only had about 1 inch, maybe 2 in spots. We saw the heaviest snow to the south. Farther east, however, they saw over 1 foot. Some areas picking up as much as 1.5 feet of snow. Northern Illinois, southeastern Wisconsin, down into southern Michigan. That's where the heaviest activity is. Locally, most of it is gone, like I mentioned. Still have some light flurries farther to the west, so some snow expected for the next 24 hours before everything really starts to kick out of here tomorrow night. That's why we do have the winter weather advisory for western Minnesota. Here's the snow and blowing snow advisory. I have some wind chill advisories farther to the west in the Dakotas, so winds are going to stay extremely noticeable for the next day at least. Current temperatures, not that bad, actually, when you look at the temps, but the wind chills, like you saw, well below zero. Most sections of western Minnesota in the 20s below zero for wind chills right now. Storm system continues to work its way off to the east. It's branching into 2 areas of energy. The one farther to the east will give us the flurries throughout the day tomorrow. That will finally kick out of here late tomorrow, and we'll have a chance to dry out and calm things down. But behind it, some very cool air is going to wrap in for Monday and keep us, it looks like, below normal temperature-wise for the next several days. In fact, straight through the week, we'll have a hard time getting out of the single numbers. For tonight, scattered snow showers. We do have a snow and blowing snow advisory for the Twin Cities throughout the night. Overnight temperatures dipping down to near 10 with those winds very strong out of the northwest. Tomorrow, flurries on and off. Wind will be the big story, and that will be blowing that snow around, so some drifting will most likely be a problem. Tomorrow night, the snow finally ends. We'll kick the clouds out here, but it will be chilly with negative numbers in the single digits for temperatures, and maybe a flake or 2 on Tuesday, then some really cool air coming in for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with single numbers for highs. Very chilly stuff on the way. We got a sky pic to pass along. Thank you to Kayla Gendron of Rogers. She's in 5th grade. Very nice. Looking out the window, snowman, little reindeer out there, and some snow falling, of course. Very appropriate for today's weather. Drive careful. Roads are tricky, so certainly take care. We'll have another update for you at 10.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Up next, why the Gopher basketball